The Architectural Review Board of the Town of Southampton now come to order. Welcome to the April 1st, 2025 meeting. Ms. Doyle, the ARB attorney, would you read the legal regulations for this hybrid meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning. Today's meeting is hybrid, which means it is being held both in person at Town Hall and by a video conference. On the town website, there is a town clerk's meetings portal. That is where you can watch the live stream video, submit written comments for the public record, and you can also join the Zoom meeting. If anyone is attending by Zoom today and would like to speak, please alert our moderator by clicking the raise hand icon or typing in the chat box. And just a note, on April 8th, the town board will be considering returning to in-person only and not having the Zoom webinar anymore. But I will keep you updated and let you know if that is adopted at the April 8th town board meeting or not.
Thank you very much, Ms. Doyle.
You're welcome.
Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Burke, would you lead us?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
Thank you.
Mr. Jankowski, the board secretary, would you please perform the role?
Mr. Wright,
Present.
Ms. Keys, via
Here.
Zoom. Mr. Burke,
Here.
myself, and you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rumpf is absent, and Mr. Tagliavia is absent, but we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jankowski. Did the board members that were present review the minutes of the March 18th, 2025 meeting?
Yes.
Were there any errors or omissions?
None.
Sir.
If there's no errors or omissions, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion.
And seconded?
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the March 18th, 2025 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried. Any old business to come before the board before we start the agenda? If none, then we'll proceed with the agenda. The first on the agenda is a sign application, Drake Inn. Are the applicants available?
Is anyone on Zoom?
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, is anyone on Zoom for this?
I have someone on Zoom for 16 Penny Lane.
That's it right there.
That's it.
Yes, that's it.
Cool, bring him in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Brian Tiemann. I'm the agent for the applicant at 16 Penny Lane. Thanks for having me on the agenda today. I was hired over a year ago to get an updated CO on the Drake Hotel, and it wound up peeling back layers of an onion that required a lot of corrective action. I'm happy to say that we've accomplished all of that with this one remaining pending issue of the sign. We have an updated CO. Everything's been resolved, but Marjorie, in reviewing our sign application, referred it over to you for review. She had stated that, from what I understand, the current sign, which is a very old one, been there a long, long time, has, I think, more than the allowed colors on it than what is currently up to code. So that's what brings me here today, is to discuss that, to see what your thoughts are on it and what you would like us to do.
Okay. The lead for the area is Mr. Tagliavia, but since he's absent, Mr. Wright, would you mind taking care of this?
Sure. Mr. Tiemann, that sign is pre-existing as it stands now. It's up.
Yeah, that is up, and that's why I wasn't able to really provide any samples of anything.
Okay.
Without dismantling it or scraping colors off. So I was hopeful that the rendering that we submitted was helpful in your review.
Are you or the applicant planning on redoing any of that or just leaving it as the pre-existing sign that's standing?
The current plan is to leave it as is, if that's that's amenable to you. I don't know what their future plans are, though. Might be to change it.
Okay. And this is the last piece to a final CO?
Yeah, it's actually the CO was issued. I guess this is able to be resolved outside of that. But yeah, it is the last piece in making everything compliant.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I don't really see an issue with the sign if it's pre-existing. I would say that if they did go for obviously a new sign or any changes, it would have to come in front of us.
I have informed the client, the owner, that would be the case too. Even if they decide at any time now or in the future, I did alert them to what the issue is with the current sign in terms of compliance, so that if they did get a new sign, they would be held to the new standards.
Right, I think, I'm not sure. Do you know how high it is from the ground?
I can pull up those plans. I believe if we zoom in on
See
it,
from here.
Yeah, what does that say? I can't see it.
4 feet from here to
The sign.
here.
If it's 4, then that's fine.
That's the size of the sign.
Yeah.
From up above
So-
it. I think we have to do math.
And then what?
yeah, there's math. The structure is taller than that, but the sign is 4 feet itself.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 2 feet.
Can't really see the math.
Here, I can see more.
And also, I'll just throw in as well that from a building standpoint, not the sign itself, these plans that you're looking at were actually created so that we met code with wind, as well as we had to replace the posts to be larger and set in concrete.
It's 2.5 feet up
Yeah,
off the ground. 2.5 feet.
2.5.
I think it has to be 4
Off the ground?
off the ground. 4 foot underneath.
No, that'd be an 8-foot post, so
I
it'd be,
don't think you want to.
no, I think it's probably,
Yeah. Well, it's,
Oh, that's what's sticking
there's
out.
one thing that's different about this. This is a residential street, correct?
For the most part, yes.
It's a residential street and you're almost at the end of the street.
No, it's about midway.
Midway, okay.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah.
And you have the water at the end.
Yeah, okay.
what's next to it?
I believe it's residential on both sides, but there are some condos down at the end.
That's what I was thinking of, is the condos at the end.
You guys did a substantial cleanup on the property?
What?
You gotta make a left on a road.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it's
or something like
looking really good.
Okay.
Mm.
Can't really see it.
I mean, do you know how many colors are in the sign now?
I believe 3. I'll have to just zoom in on the.
That's not too many.
I know.
No, it's not too many.
Render.
That's why,
No, if it's 3,
I said it was pre-existing and, yeah.
yeah.
Does-
There's a
does
teeny
that-
little bit of pink and maybe that's what, you can barely see that though.
Yeah.
Does that check out with all of you on the board that it looks like 3?
Yeah, except for the, like, Ms. Doyle said the little pink, but other than that.
It's pre-existing, so. Yeah,
I mean, the landscape
There's
is hardly.
no-
Let's move to the rest of us then.
yeah, I mean, this isn't. Yeah.
I don't even see the pink in this one. I don't know if they drew the,
Yeah.
It doesn't show up in the actual image there.
You know what? I'm just zooming in on it. It looks like that pink on the left is actually a live tree in flower.
Oh,
That's exactly
yeah,
what
I
that
just
is,
saw
isn't
that
it?
right here. It doesn't
Yeah,
show up.
so-
They drew that in there.
Yeah, I was like, why would that be there?
Yeah,
So 3 colors.
no, the three colors are
It's fine.
fine.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that.
Oh,
Looks like it's 2 feet off the ground.
I mean, I don't see the character.
Move around.
Yeah, the character. Okay, Mr. Wright, any
I have
further comments?
No, I have no further comments.
Okay, Mr. Jankowski?
Residential area, dead end street. I actually grew up on Wakeman on the other side. This has been here forever. I can't imagine if this even wouldn't be historical to not take it down. That's how long it's been there. The only thing I want, Brian, is can put a number on it. I mean, we know what it is in the fire department, but just so that the emergency services know. So just put 16, right? Because that's what you are.
16
Yes.
Penny
Yeah, just for
Lane.
a street address. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Even if you
Yeah,
make
sure.
something, make it look nice or something like that, maybe on the top. That's it, just so we have a number. But other than that, I don't have any issues with it.
Right, okay. Mr. Burke?
no issues.
And I'm going along with Mr. Wright. Mr. Jankowski, I don't have any issues with it.
Great.
So this is, any comments from the public on this sign?
Where is it lit? Just out of curiosity.
On top.
Yeah.
Okay,
On
I
top,
forgot.
downward.
Sorry,
Down.
Ms. Keys, I forgot you were on Zoom.
that's all
Comments,
right.
Ms. Keys?
That was it. It looks fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do I hear a motion on this?
I'll make the motion to approve as submitted with adding the property address number for the fire rescue.
Okay.
I'll second.
You'll second it, thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the sign as submitted with the addition of the address number on the top to conform with the rest of the sign and material and design. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Thank you all,
Okay.
and I will submit a photo of the sign after the number is placed on there.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
thank you. You can always get one of these sign guys to just do the small number.
Yeah,
You know, it's like what we do for residential near the street.
right. Sounds good.
All
Yeah,
right, cool.
okay,
Thanks,
thank
Brian.
you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a substantial residential, 400 Main Street. This is 400 Main Street in Quiog. Is the applicant available?
We are here.
Yes.
You want us to, there's gonna be 3 of us up here. You want us to?
Yeah,
come
you
here
got
or
3,
Let's see.
you got 3 seats.
I don't reinforce it.
We got all these new mics, too.
Yeah.
400 Main.
Wireless.
Hi.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good morning.
Steve Caputo. I'm here for the application for 400 Main Street. I'll wait for everybody to get up here, and then I will introduce.
New guy.
He's got the plans.
I have
He's
them
the
already
most important.
No.
Good morning.
Yeah.
This is Eric Bergman. He
'Cause I'm
is
not
counsel to
working.
the LLC that owns the property.
Yeah.
He's been assisting us in working on this and trying to bring this to a happier conclusion than last time we were in front of you. And this is Walter Dunn. He is the designer of the plans. He was here with
Right.
me last time.
Yeah.
When we were here last, the board had some fairly substantial, as did the public, had some fairly substantial comments as to what we had proposed. And they were, if I may paraphrase them, the flat roof and the siding and the way the building appeared. Taking those comments to heart, we went back, discussed it with Mr. Dunn, discussed it with the members of the LLC that own the property, and came up with a redesign, which I believe you have all received this, or I hope you've all received this.
Yes, that's,
The first thing you can see on there is that the roof has changed. The flat roof is now gone. It has also gone, on that rendering, that is cedar shakes. The other rendering, we've given you two because the other is cedar planking. The reason we gave you both is this is a spec house, and the ultimate buyer of the house may be more concerned with planking or more concerned
well,
with cedar.
look, I'll just stop you there. You have to, it has to be decided. We cannot do any of these to be determined. This board voted not to allow anything like that, whether spec house or not.
No, the board told us that they wanted us to come back with different siding. And you
Okay.
denied it because you didn't approve
But
the siding
it's
or the
going to
roof.
be decided in the meeting what it's going to be.
Well,
Not for
I mean, I
the,
can choose one for you now if you want.
yeah, not for the owner, you
Now,
know.
well, let me pose a question to the board, since
Okay.
you've been very helpful to get me to this
Right.
point. What if we go down the road and they decide that they want planking, and I've told you they want cedar shakes? Do I have to come back to the board again?
Yes.
Fair enough, fair enough. So for
Yes.
the purposes of today,
Right.
let's go with that rendering, because that rendering is I think is the best to show you what we're doing and what we're proposing. And that stays consistent with 9 out of 11 houses within 500 feet. We have one house somewhere on the block that looks like it might have vinyl siding. Okay, that's the only one that I know of. So it's substantially different. I think the board can say this is substantially different from what was there before. Just the flat roof alone changes the whole dynamic of the building. We are by no means the largest property within a 500-foot radius. As a matter of fact, there are 5 houses within 1,000 feet of this house that are equal to or greater in square footage. They're on Linden Lane. I can give you all the numbers. They're 11, 12, 15, 18, 19, and 20. And I believe it's 19 that is almost 2,000 square feet greater than this house. So we certainly are not larger than anybody in the area. We're consistent in how the house looks in terms of, again, we've gone with the changed roof, we've gone with the cedar shakes. So that's my introductory comments, and I'm sure the board has a number of questions for us.
Well, Mr. Jankowski is the lead.
Walt, can you open up to the site plan at least? Let's get a big picture of what the whole site looks like, all right? Because we're looking at a rendering. Obviously, it did change, so we appreciate that, at least that you came in. But for some reason in my brain, I'm trying to remember, I thought you almost had like 2 driveways coming into this thing, one off of Linden, one off
There
of,
is no access on Linden any longer.
any longer.
Any longer.
Ah,
There's no
okay.
access on Linden today,
Okay, so we're only on Main Road.
only on the main road.
Is
Got it.
there anything there now
On Linden,
on this property on 400 Main?
there is a partially constructed new structure. It was shut down by a stop work order.
Right.
Did you mean by
This is the site plan,
driveway or-
Walt?
No, I just
That's
wanted to
it?
make
Just
sure I'm
leave it,
refreshing.
that way
So,
don't hit the mics. That was it. I mean,
was
that's
that
the,
was that rectified? Because the last time we didn't even listen, really.
So I
We
remember
gave our
the
comments, but we
pool.
didn't.
Right. No, what happened is they were in court, I believe, with this, the stop work orders.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there was no more work done, to my knowledge.
Right, there's none of that?
So,
So we don't even have an accurate
yeah.
site plan, we're just going off of that architectural.
Well, this is
landscape?
the site
Well,
plan.
then look at that, that's a driveway coming off of Linden, I just asked you if there was that, and you said no.
What, here, let me go back, this,
No.
this is a work
Go
in
ahead, I can
progress
address
at times.
Okay.
Okay.
What we did is we made changes in the plans, revised the plans. We put them in CAD so it could look a little more presentable, easy to read, more understandable, which is typical the way we do our work. And then intermediately, when we were going for amendment to the permit, we put together intermediate drawings, and that's what you're showing here. So that does not represent what we have in the plans for you today.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, can I
Yes.
just interject? I understand that, but this is the second time now that I feel like you guys have come in front of us and things are not exactly what they should be. We're intermediate, we're planning. It's got to be black and white. What are we looking at? Are we looking at that or are we looking at that?
we're looking at this. That's why we brought the plans.
This should have been sent
We're
to us.
confusing the issue. This matches that. I want to address the comment about the road. The site plan must reflect anything that is on the property or that is proposed. There was a driveway on Linden to the prior home that was there. Whether or not they were allowed to have a driveway, I'm not able to address that.
Right.
But we understand that we don't have that driveway. This is just showing that it's there. What we are doing now is what is in gray. Clearly, we have a driveway coming in off Main Street. We are not planning, we have not submitted to the building department, nor are we
And-
submitting to you a driveway off Linden.
Did you submit it to the town engineer by any chance?
We have not
For a
gone back
curb
to the
cut.
town engineer because we've always had a driveway on Main Street.
You have. Okay.
Mr. Jankowski, if I could just, I have a video from this morning where they've actually closed off all access from Linden and already have arborvitae plantings along the Linden property line. So you can see what it is actually today, although it's not maybe depicted in the plan.
Oh.
But I have a video from this morning of what they've already done to rectify the Linden access.
So can you just state your name real quick?
I'm Rafael the Big Door with Douglas Elliman.
All right, I appreciate you saying that, which is good. I mean, that's actuals. I'd probably check that out when I leave here. So I appreciate that. You have to understand too, what's written in the record is what's drawn on these plans.
I understand.
So I appreciate your comment.
Yeah, and I'll have more comments after you open the floor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, if I may, I was there yesterday. There is nothing that looks like a driveway off Linden.
Okay, and you're new to this, so last time we had a lot of different questions and stuff like that. So just trying to get them all out and answered.
And accurate.
I was there
Right.
Sunday, so.
Okay.
Okay, my concern on this, then that's a pre-existing curb cut
On Main Street,
on Main Street?
yes.
Oh, that's all I wanted to,
Yes.
then that's already done.
As far as I'm aware, no, let me say it a different way. Again, it only shows on the site plan to show historically what's on the property. But as you know,
That didn't
we're-
look like existing. That's why, because I thought it was proposed.
Yeah.
No, no,
That
no.
says proposed, so that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
That's his proposed driveway. That doesn't mean existing.
But this is
That's
the,
correct. Nothing's been built out there, so it's.
I understand. You heard what Steve was trying to tell me, that I didn't know how to read a plan.
Right.
That
Steve
it
was not
says-
saying that, sir.
it says
I was
proposed.
not saying
It
that.
says
Please,
proposed.
Calm down. That's not what I
No, I
was
am
saying.
calm.
Whoa,
calm.
wait a minute, hold it.
It
That
says
was-
proposed.
That was out of order.
Stop.
That was out of order,
No,
putting
wasn't.
words in my
No,
mouth.
no, stop. He was, he had the floor. He had the floor,
And he
okay?
put words in my mouth, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then just do it quietly.
Oh, I'll do it quietly. This was to show, here's Linden. You're talking about seeing a driveway in Linden. There is nothing here that shows a driveway anywhere near Linden.
Steve, it says proposed driveway.
Can you lean in and can I show you, please? Because I think
Is that what we're?
walking right past each other. Here's Linden. This was the old access. The new driveway is coming in this way. There's at least 20 feet where the old Linden access was. If I explained it to you improperly, I apologize. This is, it has to be on a site plan because it was there,
I understand.
but it's not there anymore.
Got it.
My mistake. All right, we got over that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So
question.
that's a
Go
site
ahead,
plan. That's
proceed.
where we are. So
Mr.
now we know we're only coming from 400. We're coming from
Correct.
Main Street. Okay,
And
so
we're
we
coming in on
resolved.
this.
Exactly. So we're going into there, and then I'm looking at the structures, right? So I mean, that rendering essentially is only showing us, is it 2 of the structures,
Yes. Yes.
right? But yet there's a third, right? Because that rendering showing me from Main Street, right?
1 and 2. 1, 2.
So how do I not see that then?
Wait a minute. Would you, Ms. Doyle, could you pull up the rendering again? Now, where's it, this curb cut's on Linden, though. It shows on Linden.
On the building on the right, Mr. Jankowski, behind that extends in the other direction, but it's part of the same building.
So this rendering right now is showing me from Linden,
Showing you
Yeah.
from Linden.
Yeah, it's from
of a
here.
driveway that doesn't or won't
Will
exist.
never exist and is no longer on the site plan.
Why are we
Why-
showing
I'm
that?
confused.
Yeah, I know.
Steve, if I may
It's-
interject, right?
yeah.
Here's my problem, and I believe you, and I think you guys are trying to do the right thing. But the last two times you've come in front of the board, it's been, nope, that's not it. This is it. This is it. Now you're showing us a rendering coming from the road that you tell us is not going to be one.
But
So
it's
why
only-
are you showing us that?
Only to show you the purposes of what the building is going to look like. It's not the architecture, it's not the landscape plan at all. And our plans would supersede any rendering. And our plans clearly show that we are not coming in from Linden.
I mean, this clearly shows you're coming in from Linden.
But
Yeah.
it's only a rendering that would never get us a permit, that would never
But
get us.
do you see where I'm coming from?
I understand the confusion.
Because
Right.
look, when
I
you,
appreciate.
From day one all the way through.
I
And I
understand.
feel like we're getting double talked, or at least I feel like I'm getting double talked.
Certainly not our intention.
well, look, normally, and I'm saying normally, people that come before this board have final drawings ready. In other words, curb cuts, driveways, whatever. I mean, if you need time to come back, we'll adjourn and you can come back on this.
Well, may I ask another question?
Yeah.
To save us all time, and I think that would be a very good idea, can we address any other questions that the board has so that we can come back and do it all at once?
Fine,
Like that.
fine.
I mean, I
Relief
think that's
for the-
only fair, right? Because of
Yeah.
where we're at. Do we have an elevation of at least from,
I've got 16
Main?
plan
all right,
sheets.
get
that
me
we
an
can show
elevation
you,
that
right?
shows me from, I guess that would be the south elevation.
Yeah.
Because that's at least from Main Street,
You know,
where the driveway is going to be coming in.
Excuse me?
One of the difficulties we have as we make changes or revisions in plans is to make sure that there's a chronological order of events happening here.
Right, well, we need the final.
And
And
that's what-
look, one thing we are going to need is for Ms. Doyle to be able to put them up digitally.
Right, and I brought a thumb drive this morning with me to reflect
Okay.
these plans, but she didn't have the connections to make it.
Yeah, because this was not one we
Absolutely,
saw.
and that was my
can't see
intent.
that.
So we've got
Yeah, that's basically the rendering that we're looking at.
rear, then we have rear,
Right, so, yes, so
then we have left. So the Main Street would be left.
This is from Main Street?
Main Street.
If I'm looking at it from Main Street,
Because that
so
should be on
rendering
that
from
side,
the
because
left
that would be the garage.
Linden. So
Linden.
Main Street would be,
This is the one that's marked south elevation.
Perfect.
this was where the existing house was on Main Street.
one of us got to get up.
Let me take a look.
Because I can see that. I can see that.
This is south elevation. I mean, this doesn't make sense to me. Hold on. This, look how short this is.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. That's what I mean. Nothing that. Are you trying to tell me that this is the same thing and they're turning it? That's not how you draw plans.
May I explain?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead,
yeah.
Walt.
On the building on the left side of this drawing
Right,
is the extension going along Linden Lane. This is the location of where the house was on Main Street that was torn down. We came back and they were creating the foundation and they decided to come back in for the plan for the second floor because they had a second floor, the previous designer, above the garage. The town would not allow the bedrooms over the garage, all right? So therefore, they moved them over to become a second floor here on the house, the future past location of the house. And this is the one floor connection in between the, connecting this
Right.
building to the new building going along
well,
Linden Lane.
from the rendering that you had up there.
That was just facing Linden Lane.
Right, but facing Linden Lane.
Right.
This is that,
No,
That's
I
this.
mean,
This is that house.
the extension is behind the taller building.
So it's an
Yeah.
L. It's an L shape.
L-shape.
L shape. I
And
don't
this-
see that
this-
anywhere on this plan. an
right,
L
I
shape.
don't see that. And where is this one?
It's not- I'm sorry.
That's just the
Here
pyramid.
here it is. I mean, we.
Document.
can't-
Where?
That was just pyramid calculation. Why don't we stay with these?
Yeah, because these don't match.
It's not, this is that big building that you see in the rendering.
I mean, even looking at that rendering, right? There's nothing connected.
This is the garage, the storage area.
Eric, can I see
It's
that one?
behind, yes, sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, wait a minute,
Connection.
Joe.
Okay, like a breezeway.
Yeah,
The renderings are
Here.
confusing to what.
this is where,
Well, the plans are confusing too, Walter, because that
This-
doesn't look like an L shape.
this
to me. So that I
matches
go back to
what
the site,
the
I can
rendering
see-
was, but this
I can see
doesn't.
an
The
L.
roof
No,
line
I
is
can see
not,
that, but
right?
the drawings have to show
This
that.
is
We can have a
tall.
site plan
I mean,
that
it's
says
like
that's what we're making our
reversed.
foundation, but we gotta have a builder to be able to.
Pyramid one.
Well, where's the real plans? Like, if I'm gonna build this,
Right here.
but then show me
that's-
where we have that
That-
elevation.
If
Give
I
me
may.
that south again,
If I may.
Walter.
That document that we're looking at is only showing the pyramid calculations, all right? These are the plans that have been submitted. This set here is what has been submitted. So let's just look at these, because that's confusing the issue. And that was only addressing the pyramid.
Well, then that's easy, right? So at least my comments can at least start with what
Yes,
we
let's
have.
Stay within these, and then you can tell us what you don't
Exactly.
like.
So let's just
Okay,
go
yeah.
with the elevation.
Sorry.
South.
Okay,
The one that
here.
says south.
So we don't get confused,
Yeah, let's stay with this set.
that would
Yeah,
go
well,
back.
We already said we were gonna have a discussion as far as like, okay, what don't we like and what you need to come back with.
Correct.
So that's easy, because I can't read these. So let's go with a south elevation. I can tell you, you can write it down in your notes. I want a south elevation of what
Show
you're
you.
actually trying to draw.
I'm
So
gonna show that to
therefore,
you
I should-
right now.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's see.
Walter, will you turn the pages to the south elevation? Could you have rear left? Right, I don't want to give the wrong
Well,
one.
there's two ways we can look at this. One is the floor plans.
All right, well, this is at least good. We're not supposed to look at floor plans, we're supposed to look at elevations, but at least this can kind of tell us.
well,
because
I mean,
that's
we
not
can
drawn
look
in
at floor
anything.
plans,
I know.
but it doesn't,
We can think in 3D, but
right.
that's the connection he's talking about that I can't see in any of
The
the
kitchen.
elevations.
This is the existing where the garage was before on this house that was here. And so the concept was to take the building where the house is. When that was torn down, they added a second floor into what was not there before with the house. Then the first floor connected over into the new building that's going along Linden Lane.
Oh.
And then there's.
garage
detached
should be behind
garage,
that.
Which is behind.
That I can
this,
see.
all right?
Right, obviously not
Okay.
on this
That's where
plan.
the confusion came in.
No, there's still no, it's not the confusion, Walter. There's still nothing in the elevations that are showing that connection.
Right, that's what we,
An idea of what it looks like from Main Street.
right.
I don't know how we can make any kind of assessment as to what.
We're trying to tell them what we're gonna need to see, Julie, in order to be able to make
Yeah.
a better informed decision. Because right now, we can't with what we're seeing. So that's what we're trying to help
So,
them with.
Oh,
but
good.
the lead still has the floor at this point.
Well, not a problem.
So-
Jules was
No,
confused,
but
and I don't mind that question.
No, I'm going through
A lot
everybody
going on.
on the comments.
I'm ready to try to answer.
Sorry to go out of place.
Yeah, go ahead, Walter.
So essentially now this is looking from Main Street, the view from Main
Right.
Street.
Ooh,
Right.
that doesn't match up, though.
It does. Here's.
Well,
here's
wait a
the
minute.
going back.
Where does it match up? Because in that rendering, you have a gabled roof coming this way. Now this indicates flat.
And no windows? And no windows in that existing new updated one that are facing towards,
Can I just make a suggestion?
and then that, the walkway is going into the side yard.
Yeah.
Can
Do you
we,
mind if you?
No, go ahead. I mean, it's discussion.
I want to discuss and help you guys out, but this is the second time now we're coming up here and it's just not accurate. Like, what are we supposed to even comment on?
What I was saying.
Well, the major issues that we wanted comments on, Mr. Wright, was that, one,
Okay.
that we listened to everything you said, both the board and the community at the last hearing, right? As a result of that, we came back and agreed to make all those changes that everybody requested, to address your concerns and resolve that. That was the first major step that we wanted to point out, right? Then we came back and wanted to show what.
Kelly,
they
that's what
were.
we're looking at right here. That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of them is the show that we're putting peak roofs on. Now, I'm gonna go back and see how this happens. Occasionally, things do happen, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm not saying putting blame on anybody. I'm just saying, again, I don't feel comfortable commenting on
Yeah.
things that are not accurate.
And
Look.
we'll make that change, all right?
In other words, that should be the elevation from Main Street,
Exactly. And that's
but
why
it doesn't show it there.
not in this drawing, so we'll make the modification, and I appreciate that.
Okay, do you see what I mean?
Oh, no, I think we all do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we're trying to
You
help
got
them
this.
now, at least for the
That's
next
good.
one. So one, yeah, we appreciate obviously that we put the pitch roofs on. Good. We're looking at cedar shake. Good. But we still
And-
got to have
and what-
a little bit more accurate.
what
You
color-
understand that, right?
are the cedar shakes and the
Well, they're gonna
roof?
determine that. They're just gonna come back and tell us like what color that they're going to use. And like
Okay.
I said, if they wanna change it, then you gotta come back in front of us. But,
Okay.
I think
Okay.
the intention right now is natural, but they'll think about it.
right, natural, so they gray out?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
that matches all the area. I could see that too in that rendering that we're not using, but you know what I'm getting at. That'll obviously gray out. You know, just maybe not the black roof, but, all right. So a little bit more accurate, at least on this elevation, so that we can see what that roadway look is going to look like. Okay?
I'm also going to make a
Go ahead.
suggestion. Not left, right, center. Let's do north, south, east, west
I'm gonna go back,
elevation.
I'm gonna add in arrows on the views, which may not be appropriate, but it's.
Yeah.
Okay, those are my comments for right now, because then at least if that's what I can see, then I can make informed decisions.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
you're entitled to your.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's it.
Are there any other concerns?
Yeah, there might be. That he's got to
Wait,
run through the
We're
board.
going through the whole board. Ms. Keys, comments?
Yes, I think that I follow the lead on what he said. And I think that that's basically the beginning and the end of it. I don't see why we have to go through the plans to come up with the fact that they need to have a concise plan in order to finish, you know, to start. Like, I don't know where we would go to talk about what we don't like when there's no way to understand what's happening, you know?
Okay, fine. Thank you. Mr. Burke, comments?
From what I can see, the cedar shake and the pitched roof, I think are two improvements.
Yeah.
And I'll agree with Ted on the other points, and let's see what comes back.
Okay. Mr. Wright, comments?
No, I think I made them. I would say though that I appreciate you making the earlier changes that we talked about. If it is possible and you need to adjourn for another meeting, can we please come in here with everything accurate, all matching? And that just makes it, otherwise we're just guessing and we're giving you ideas and advice on something that's really irrelevant. Let's have it all, that matches this matches that, the driveway's got, like, let's put it out there so everyone can see exactly what's being built. Because I do feel like the last two meetings, it's been a little bit of, and I'm not, no fault to own, but it seems like, oh, but this is it, but this is not it. And we need the actual. I'm not going to comment on anything until I actually see the actual documents.
Fine. Okay, fine, all right. My comments are this. I appreciate that you did put in the gable roofs because that fits within the area. The only thing that I'm still bothered by a little bit are the windows, because I don't think anyone's got windows like that in that whole area. You know, the awning windows,
Well,
which I assume they're awning windows.
there's not windows on this one even. Is there windows on that one?
No.
And then so are
Well,
you doing?
I'm just commenting on the windows on that main building, because you do have these other windows that fit more with the rest. Because the awning windows, I mean, that fit more with the original square building that you had, but it doesn't fit anywhere in the neighborhood, and that's one of the things that will be come out. I appreciate the cedar shake or the whichever you're going to use and letting it age, and the roof material. And that's my comments, but since we do have some people, I think we have people from the public here, and we have to give them a chance to voice any suggestions or whatever comments they have. Is there anyone from the public that would like to voice their comments? You want to come up and give your name and
You just sign your name on that sign-in sheet too. Thank you.
Hi, I'm
Yeah.
Brian Mahoney. I'm live across the street from this property. Thanks for pushing it in a better direction. What I have here, I shared it last time. It's on the town's website. It's the Quag Hamlet Heritage Area. And this is for the Architecture Review Board. to come up with, and clearly they're doing the right thing by questioning all the things that they're questioning. I'm a landscape architect. I have a practice in West Hampton Beach, so this is very personal, but, important to me. But that little asterisk is the subject property, and you can see that it's surrounded by contributing, what the town is considered contributing lots, meaning they are of historic significance. They are what makes Quiog Hamlet the hamlet it is. There are lots of non-contributing parcels too that are also called out. So all the modern stuff's down by the water. It's a great document. It's online. So I beg the board to use this as a guideline to selecting the right thing. So yeah, I love the cedar.
Well,
I love the pitch roof. Thank you. But as far as the style and the fenestration that Michael, you were talking about, this is up to the board, and I trust the board will do the right thing. Little side notes, because I'm in front of architectural review boards all the time. Those plans were not up on the screen, so I'm sitting in the audience blind. So that's a little disturbing.
okay, well, it should be digital.
Yeah.
I have it presented it to them.
And I can help you, stop by the office, we'll do whatever you want. I do a lot of renderings in my office, and all of this, the site plan builds the rendering. And they always, the board was frustrated, the public's frustrated, I get it, I see what we're doing. But one of the things I want to talk about is the site plan was very important to the board. And it really is, even though we're here for the architecture. You can't have one without the other. So whether we're accessing Main Street again from where it was, or the parts of the site plan are so key to the historic attributes and the historic qualities of the hamlet that I really think it's a big consideration. And I'm going to go to planning or whoever I should talk to help with this. But where the arborvitaes are now, they are not on the property. There is a electric meter that's not on the subject parcel's property. That all has to be addressed on the site plan. And I think once we get the architecture figured out and the renderings matching everything, then the site plan has to follow suit. And that's, to me, the most important thing. And I trust the board will see it that way.
Okay, do you mind? I wanted to ask you one question.
Sure.
I appreciate that you've got all of that. But we didn't receive anything from Landmarks or its Landmarks and Historical Board.
Okay.
Have you spoken to them at all?
I'd be happy to.
You haven't then?
No, I figured that's on.
Well, it's not us. They usually.
It wasn't a subject parcel, it's surrounded.
Right.
Surrounded.
That was why, okay.
That's what Brian was just
Yes, I
explaining.
don't know.
It's
It was the
it's the
subject.
surrounding, it's the,
They're on the website.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the close-up.
I could
yes, go ahead.
help you with that.
Yeah.
When this went for the regional permit application, building application, the building department, they generally have a checklist you go over.
Yeah.
And of course, one of them is ARB, which somehow got screwed up and did not happen,
Right.
And that no fault of the board, no fault of the applicant. So, same thing happened with the Historical and Landmarks Committee, right? We couldn't get an answer whether it was necessary to go to them or not. So we wound up speaking to the secretary in there, and then she got feedback from the chairman after I had prepared the historical report, right? And the historical report clearly showed that it did not have to go before the historical board because of the time that it was built, right? And they came back with a memo to us saying that. So we never submitted the document to them because they did not want it.
Do you have the memo?
I have that. I'll be happy to forward. I may be able to gather out of my reports here today that I brought with
Yeah,
me.
and also that you had contacted, because normally, excuse me, the Landmarks and Historical sends us a notice on anything that's gonna be sensitive
And a report.
in a report to us.
Yeah.
And
You didn't get one.
no, we didn't get one. I mean, it's just like the same thing that happened before, where you paperwork mess up or whatever, you didn't come before this board. So that's why,
Things shouldn't happen, but they did. So
No,
we're
yeah.
trying to resolve everything. That's been our purpose. That's why we appreciate coming before the board
yeah,
and listening to the community. And even though we're still doing it, which makes it more confusing sometimes when,
Yeah.
to get the final product, when somebody comes at the last minute and says you can't have a driveway on Linden. I don't profess to be an attorney, so I can't answer that, but as an engineer, professional engineer, if that's what people want, we can come in, we drew up the plan to show that it looks like an estate driveway coming in, where it comes in straight, you see the building in front of you, and then it curves around, meanders around, so you can't see in the rest of the private area of the plan. So it makes sense what we're doing. It's a chronological order that we're
Yeah.
doing it. It's making it a little confusing.
but what you're discussing right now about the driveway, I'm just gonna use that as an isolated incident. That is what we would be tending toward, because we look at the whole neighborhood in this as one unit. In other words, and does it fit, does it not fit? The scale of the house, is it this larger than most houses? Not. I mean, the one across the street on Main, the southern side of Main Street, I actually reviewed that. I had them put up all those huge arborvitaes over there because that house was out of scale with the rest of the area. And he had, because of the wetlands and the sea level coming in and out, he had no choice but to put it all the way up. So it was a much larger mass coming over. And at least the owner understood that.
I'd like to clarify 2 points that maybe lead on to what Brian said, I guess at the first meeting, if you recall, I was confused by the terminology that was used by the board that said a survey had to be done, right? And engineering and architects are generally pretty close together since we work together a lot. But we went out, the building department required us to go out and do what we call an as-built survey. And that's a major difference between a survey that you had before the property was started to work on. And that's why I was confused when you said.
Yeah, there were two surveys you
Right, and so we
actually
submitted
need.
one, you'll see that was, the latest one was done by Nathan Cole III.
Yeah.
And what he did is labeled it appropriately as as-built plan. So that reflects at the time that he went out there, it shows the conditions that existed. And the two things I pointed out, and I believe it's important for you to understand, is that when it went to the building department to go for an amendment for the building application, all right, to get amendment to the permit, they looked at this as-built survey, and it showed that there was some problems that occurred. And those problems are not unique. Every construction job you have, particularly larger ones that I've worked on highways and transportation areas, there's bound to be something that happens. And a change order comes in. Unfortunately, you wanted to see that, and I couldn't understand why the board was looking at that instead of the building department, So I'm not sure about who has the enforcement agencies, but I know you guys cooperate very closely together. So I figured there had to be a reason. That's what I was asking the question for.
Yeah.
Right? So now, as a result of that survey being done, the as-built survey, it showed that there were two problems. One is along Linden Lane, where the residential property, the residential building stops, the new extension, and the garage/storage, right? There had to be a 5-foot difference between the two buildings, minimum, all right? And during construction, for some reason, it was built at 3 feet, right? So the first thing we had to do with these plans is go back and change that to 5 feet or greater, right? That we did, right? The second one was when the existing house residence on Linden Lane, the northerly portion of the property, when that existed, they were allowing 2 residents to be on one property, which is unusual to date now, but not so unusual at that time. particularly since they were both owned by the same person on that lot. But once it was determined to tear down that existing house, the grandfathered aspects disappeared. So now the setback off of Linden Lane, which was before, I believe, 33 feet approximately, we had to make it be 40 feet. And somewhere during the construction in the field, the people doing construction and erection of the slab and the footing and the foundation for the garage made that mistake and put it where the original building was, all right? So that's the second thing that we emphasized and worked on to achieve that problem. Thank you.
Okay, so
So those are the other things we addressed here. But the last thing I think that's significant to do is that there was the two electrical meters were put on the right-of-way. Evidently, on Linden Lane, even though it's a private, it doesn't have a 50-foot right-of-way. Whatever that right-of-way is, it's the pavement we showed on the survey, and there's an 8-foot between the edge of the pavement to where the property line. There was a mistake there, and that those two electric meters connections are on the right-of-way. So they have to be moved in, and they will be, all right? So it all conforms the way it should be. But again, why were they made? If we could figure out why problems would result during the construction of jobs, we'd all be millionaires by now. But it's bound to happen, and our job as engineers and architects are to make sure we correct them so everything is right to code. And that's what we still intend to do, Mr. Chairman.
okay,
Appreciate that, but that just echoes my statement that you just
Absolutely.
laid out 4 different mistakes, right? And then that's why I just want to clarify, I'm not in the business of wasting your time or ours. And that's why I want you guys to come back with everything.
We shall, Mr. Wright. And the idea is, I appreciate you giving us a chance to go over these, so you understand that we're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. We're trying to resolve your concerns and make everybody happy is what we try to do. That's my role. You know?
okay,
I
good.
don't fight with wood. Now, so the last point I'd like to make
No,
is and it's an important one because the applicant put in arborvitae along the roadways to kind of buffer that so it doesn't look like it's a standing up too high or what. Fits in with the community, all right? Now, when they did that, they had to go back and make some changes because of the site distance triangle at the corner, all right? They've done that. Maybe that has to be done a little lower. They'll do that, all right? But in the meantime, we went out there to do an inspection, and we saw that out of nowhere appeared some more arborvitae extending northerly to where that driveway was located previously on Linden Lane. That was there for years, all right? And obviously, we were ecstatic that here's the community listening to us, and they feel that we're doing everything they want. And they actually went out and planted these arborvitae during the wintertime, which, it's not maybe the way you'd like to do it, you know? But they did it. So we thought that was very nice. So we wanted to get that on record, that we appreciate those efforts that the community did, and evidently they're seeing, as Brian seems to think too, that we are trying to address all the issues that appear before us. So we appreciate the communication, and again, we appreciate it. But I'm talking too much, right?
All right. Okay, Mr. Jankowski.
Let's see if
do you have
Brian
any
has anything
comments?
else, because
Yeah,
he was still, it was still his floor.
right.
Yeah, I still remember where I left off, and I too, I want to help, not hinder, you know.
Yeah.
Let's get this done. Back to the heritage thing. So yeah, the parcel 400 Main is not a contributing parcel, but it is surrounded. It's, if you can see, it's an island around contributing things. So whether that didn't have to go through landmarks, it is surrounded by landmarks, so that needs to be taken into consideration. As far as property lines and arborvitae, it looks like the subject's property, but it's not. And I've made those mistakes professionally too. And if you look at Linden Lane, if you drive to the end and drive back out, it's striking the alley of Linden trees that are there. And I think the arborvitae stuffed on, not on the subject property, really distracts from the historic aspect of Linden Lane. When they get big and huge, they're going to just eat the lindens and that alley that started. So I think they really need to go.
Who put them in?
The owner, yeah.
What?
I'll speak after he's done.
Okay,
I'll
all right,
join- I'll
yeah.
join him if you want me to join.
Yeah.
I'm complete.
Okay, well, because, all right, I'm just gonna make a comment on this. You feel that if, because a lot of times if a structure doesn't fit within a particular neighborhood, we require like 16-foot screening.
Right.
So you feel screening wouldn't be appropriate?
No, I think they could screen, but it should be on their property, not off their property like it is now.
Okay, so if there was, and I'm just throwing this out, if there's 16-foot arborvitae, tight enclosed, would that be in keeping with Linden Lane?
Where they are now, no.
Oh,
Because
but-
it destroys the LA. If they jump back to the actual property line, it should be okay.
Okay,
And then
Right.
it's, you know, I have to plant green giants everywhere. Every project gets them, and it's so sad that we have to hide homes. They should just be beautiful.
Yeah.
You know.
But Mr. Chairman, I'm just, so.
What?
The trees in question, though, we're talking about, really, it doesn't have any, it's not our purview. We didn't,
no, it does for screening.
for screening, but it's not even on their property, so
Not
it's.
on the property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not even on the property, so it's really just.
okay. All right, Mr. Wright, do you have any further comments? Mr. Burke?
No.
Okay, Ms. Keys, do you have any further comments?
I just think that this entire conversation has to be based on the correct plans. And that we've done 2 sessions like this. And until we have them, we can't even begin the conversation with the community. We can't begin any of this.
Okay, all right.
So that's
fine.
how I feel.
All right, thank you. Do we have anyone else from the public? that would-
Jesse
Yeah.
Anzaroli, just quickly on the Aprovidee mystery. The Aprovidees that start from Main Street and came in are on Linden Lane.
Okay,
Linden Lane, from the blacktop of Linden Lane, you go east 12 feet, then you have a right-of-way of 8 feet, then you hit the property line of 400 Main Street. So once we saw those Aprovidees coming down Linden, on Linden property, we planted the homeowners, the Linden 11, I call them, but we all planted Aprovidee to finish off the Aprovidees, but put it on the Linden Lane property line. And the only
Okay.
other comment I would make is,
well,
in all of the drawings that I've seen and the renderings I've seen, it looks like there's a very large parking area facing Linden now. Maybe we don't have the driveway, that's a great step forward, but we have a large parking area. I believe the parking area that I've seen in the renderings is on the right of way, but it should end at the property line.
okay. All right, thank you. One question or comment I'm gonna make is because, if I understand it, you put in the arborvitae or the Linden Lane?
Linden Lane is a private road, as
Yes.
per the town. So we manage it, we blacktop it, we pay for all of the maintenance of Linden Lane. Given the structure, given the debris that's over there,
Okay,
we elected as a community to each invest in putting up Aprovidees. Now, the Aprovidees are 2-tiered. One is here, which is on Linden,
yes,
and then we've got ours, which are built, been planted on Linden Lane property line itself. So I think if those Aprovidees are moved to align with where we have the Linden plantings, we will have a straight line on Linden Lane. And then you
Okay.
have the 8 feet east of that before you get to the property line of 400 Main Street.
but you planted them on their property though.
No.
We
No,
planted them
the
on
right of
Linden
way.
Lane.
They're on
Um,
the right of
You
way.
planted
We
the,
planted ours on Linden Lane.
okay,
The ones
that's
that
what
were
I
planted-
didn't
the ones that were
understand.
planted by the construction crew were on Linden Lane, not on their property line.
With not on their
Understand?
property line.
No. it was-
Yeah,
it was
so the
this-
ones that they did from their property, theirs, they just encroached into the Linden Lane property. So they have to, the homeowners of 400.
400
Yeah, that's
encroached,
what he's
yes.
explaining.
Now, you put the arborvitae, you planted them on 400 Main's property?
Me?
They were, no.
No, not you, and Jeff, but
They planted on the right of way. to
Okay,
match
the
up.
right of way, that's all I needed
Our
to hear.
planting
I
was
got it.
400.
unfortunately, we also put on the right of way, which is,
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's something for you guys to,
I don't think
yes.
that's right.
But,
The arborvitaes that were planted by the residents of Linden Lane are planted on the boundary of Linden Lane, which is 12 feet east of the blacktop.
okay,
The arborvitaes that were first planted going down from Main Street are on Linden Lane's property.
So the 400 Main planted on Linden Lane's property, is what you're
Correct.
saying?
yeah.
Got it.
Okay, fine.
And I believe the electrical things that we're talking about are also on Linden Lane's side of the property line need to be moved.
Okay, any other further comments from the
Thank-
public? Yes, come on up and state your name and,
Thank you so much. Good morning,
all
everyone.
right, morning.
It's still morning.
Yeah,
My name is Rafael Victor. I live at 29 Woodland Drive in Southampton, so I'm here, I think, qualified in three capacities. One is as a resident of the township. Secondly, I have an architectural background, studied under Robert Stern at Columbia University. And I'm
oh,
involved in a lot
fellow
of-
Colombian.
Good, nice.
Yeah.
1982. I
I was two.
have been involved in a lot of projects out here in an advisory capacity because I don't practice architecture. In fact, my career now for the last 23 years has been as a real estate broker at Douglas Elliman. Done a lot of business in West Hampton Beach, and east all the way to Montauk. So a little bit about me, and because I've been trained in marketing, so I will never lose an opportunity to do that. I'm giving you a little bit of brochure with some comps also in the neighborhood of comparable and similar property, modern architecture. And in fact, some of them will show gabled windows, and that I'll speak to as a real estate broker who understands the market quite well. And I will also approach the board with a question.
I got one right here.
Okay, and this is for you, John, actually.
Ralph, are you the listing, gonna be the listing agent on this property?
That hasn't been determined yet. Wait,
Okay.
that hasn't been determined yet, but I'm just here in a capacity as a friend.
What?
He's public.
Okay.
So he can.
Yeah, he is public.
And I drove the community this morning to give a more accurate opinion. And here is the video that is hard for me to, I tried to share this electronically, but if you just hit the play button here, you'll have me driving all the way down Linden Lane, showing the arborvitae that was planted either by the homeowners, I call it the homeowner, the Linden 11, or by the owner. And I don't find, as you drive down, that it's any less aesthetic than anything less in the community. And in fact, with all due respect, if you live across the street, the fence that you have erected in front of your plantings, in my opinion, is not enhancing the neighborhood in any way. And if you just look at this, if you can, and you can re-hit play and look at it again. But this is the drive down Linden Lane from just this morning.
This one.
And it shows the arborvitae there, and I didn't know who planted it, and it didn't seem offensive to me in any way. I think it's difficult to castigate a homeowner or an applicant when the plantings were made by the community, in a sense, in a response to the new construction that's there. And frankly, from a perspective of aesthetics, I mean, the eyesore that the stop construction is now, as it was erected as a contemporary flat roof structure, I would think that the community would want to see it completed, see it finished, see it sold for the $4 million or whatever it's going to go for, that only enhances values throughout the neighborhood. And I also have a lot of similar constructions that are in the community that I can give to Ms. Doyle. There's a lot of construction in that neighborhood that is very similar. In fact, this one is a flat roof construction on Jaeger, 1A Jaeger, which is about 2 miles away. So that may not have relevance or not. I don't know.
No, it's
Different jurisdiction. I understand.
no, not jurisdiction. It's different neighborhood.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
So,
I will concede that gladly. But there are quite a lot of constructions with these, what we'll call the gabled windows, which from a market perspective, which is my perspective, homeowners, want privacy. They don't mind windows that are higher and elevated because they don't want people looking into their lifestyle. They also like room for artwork. So I mean, and I don't find it, from my architecture background, from my real estate background, I don't find it offensive that windows be higher. I think that's kind of a market trend, and I realize that you guys are here to preserve the history of the area also, but I just don't find it. The argument is that the market is a very powerful force also, and if this is what the market wants, an investor that buys land and makes the investment to build it out and to sell it, no one seems to consider the investment that people make that then gets stalled, that then creates an eyesore for the community, and then, I mean, he got permits. It's not like he went forward.
If I may, can I
Yeah,
may?
sure,
Because I
go
do
ahead.
take offense to one comment. We actually, at this board, I pride ourselves on the fact that we do take in consideration people's investment and time.
Right. Well, I'm not saying you don't.
Okay, so that, to state that,
Yeah.
I'm going to put that on the record. And also, we've spent more time with this loan, this file, with not accurate information than we had with anybody else that has come up for our board for the last couple of months.
20 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I just wanted to interject
I'm
on
not
that.
privy to that because I got involved.
No,
literally
I
within a
understand
week ago.
that, but
I have a question for the board also. Because from my perspective, again, market perspective, and since the gentleman, the architects and the gentlemen involved here have to make a design decision also, which is very much what
Right.
I believe these hearings are about. My first question is, from a market perspective, clapboard sells better than shingle today. So if that's something that your employer is willing to do, I would like to ask the board whether you had an objection to a clapboard siding versus a natural wood that can fade also and discolor naturally, whether that would be a preference to be shingle or clapboard. And the second question may be a little bit more sensitive, because what's selling today are the tongue and groove metal roofs. And that black roof, from me, when I look at the rendering, is not as aesthetic as a silver colored tongue and groove metal. So I just want a direct
well,
design
that
direction.
is your preference.
Well, the design
And-
direction, I'm asking what the board would like to see, what they would prefer to see, because I would love at the next application that it get approved and that they can move on and develop the property. Do you guys have a preference or an objection to a tongue and groove metal roof?
Whatever is
Submitted.
presented, we will
Well, before we
evaluate
spend
it
the money
at the
to
time.
create the renderings, to present it, we're gonna make the presentation decisions, but does the board object to
Wait a minute.
clapboard?
Are you-
Hold it. I thought you said you were from the public,
I'm from
not
the public.
associated.
I mean,
You're saying we now.
Yes.
That means you're associated with them.
I'm-
You should have identified yourself in the beginning.
I'm not associated with them at this stage.
Well,
I'm a
then,
real
don't
estate
use the
broker.
term "we."
Fair enough. The gentlemen here on this side of the table have a decision to make with the
Right.
applicant. And the decision is going to be shingle or clapboard, asphalt roof or tongue and groove metal roof. And I'm asking the board whether you have a preference for either, so that when they, not me, when they do the renderings, they can present something that's more likely to be approved because you guys have less objection or more objection
Well,
towards one.
that's their decision to make, because part of this is going to be a economic decision.
Right.
Do you realize how much tongue and groove?
Not significantly more.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, so I've done a number of them already.
Yeah, and my
asphalt
my
costs
house
about 30
Could I
days.
is
just
tongue and
that's not
groove.
the argument. It's really
Yes,
the
I
applicant's
know.
determination.
It is the applicant's determination.
Raphael, who's an old friend, is not representing the applicant. So we will come back with hopefully
Right.
plans that are accurate.
Perfect.
And we will make that decision, or we'll
Fine.
give you two alternatives. in the
Right.
plan.
Right.
So
And that was the question. That was the spirit of the question was,
Well,
does the board
it's-
prefer
we
asphalt
don't.
versus?
It
Okay.
depends on the
We look at the
neighborhood.
totality of the circumstances and all the
It depends
aspects
on
of
the
the
neighborhood,
application, you know, so we can't make, opinions on the fly
Does
like.
does the Linden 11 prefer one or the other, just so that the process can be smoother?
This is out of bounds.
Okay, I'll
It's-
withdraw.
It's the,
I appreciate the opportunity to
Okay.
say what I have to say, and I hope that you guys come to a conclusion. Thank you very much.
yes,
Thank you.
okay. Now I'm going to just ask one question. Is he going to be representing this as a selling agent?
I have no knowledge of that at all. I can get an answer for the board should you want it. This is the first I've met this gentleman. I don't know.
Okay. Did
I
you,
have no idea, never met him.
I don't know for sure the answer. My understanding is that nobody has been chosen.
okay, that's,
And I don't even know if Raphael's in the running or not.
okay, all right, fine. Okay, is there any other from the public would like to speak? If not, then any further comments from the board? If not, then fine, we'll adjourn this until you come back. You notify Ms. Myers, and you have our comments. And one suggestion I'm gonna make, but I need to talk to Mr. Jankowski. Would you, before they come, review their presentation next time?
Yeah, if it's submitted digitally like that.
Yeah,
and
it'll
then it
be
gets sent to
submitted
me,
digitally,
then
and you
make
review it.
comments. I can do that.
And you can make comments. He's the
Same
lead for
channels, the way
area.
you're doing it. Carrie will get it to me, so we'll go from there.
When I give it to Carrie.
No, she'll know, trust me.
Yeah.
She'll know.
No,
So as
she's-
soon as it comes, it ends up coming to all of us anyway. What I think Mr. Chairman wants me to do is, rather than just have it and then wait till we come to here,
Yeah.
if there's something
This
else
way
that I
it's
can say to
gonna
you
be-
guys,
Yeah.
hey, look, this isn't what we talked about, this isn't what you did, and then give it back to you, so we're not wasting our time. I think that's what he's
Wasting
getting
your
at.
time, or?
Thank
We do
you.
not want this to
Yeah.
happen again. So I think that's the comment that he's making without having to say it, so that's why I said we'll do it that way.
Right.
Keep the same channels, do what you're doing. I'll
So-
just make it a little quicker as far as the review goes
And you
and back.
contact
Thank
Ms.
you.
Myers on this, okay? All right, good enough. Any other comments you need before we adjourn?
No, I think we've done enough damage for today.
Yes. Okay, all right, thank you. Any further business to come before the board? If none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that.
motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
At least there was